let's get ready to review this beautiful book called When We Were Birds by Ayanna Lloyd Banwo. This book, let me tell you, was fantastic. It was about a girl who can see the dead and a guy who works at a graveyard. It's like the perfect combination, but the thing is, these two were destined before they even knew. This was destined by the ancestors and all of those kinds of things. And I'm pretty sure that's how this flowed in because this book was absolutely beautifully written. If you like slow burns, it's a beautiful slow burn. If you like romance in the sense of spirituality, not just romance, like connection, a soul connection, family bonds, the everything that is beyond people, that is beyond this realm, and everything to do with how the spirits guide us and the connections we have to this earth, to meeting someone that is 100% solely ours. This is that book. But this book covers so many more things. So let's just get into it before I lose focus, because I usually do lose focus. The story sets out in Trinidad and Tobago, and this starts off with Darwin, who's the male character. Darwin is looking for a job in the beautiful island of Trinidad, and he goes to like a community center. He finds a job, and unfortunately for him, this job is in a graveyard. Now, the issue with him working in a graveyard, not because of anything else. I mean, like, there's always the issue of, people working in a graveyard and, ghosts and scary stuff and all of the things that go bump in the night. But this is specifically difficult for him because he is a Rasta. Now, I don't know what it was like. I know the gist of what a Rasta is based on like popular social, like what you find on Urban Dictionary, but based on the cultural aspect of it, a Rasta is like a spiritual being, like someone who's got a little more spirituality in them, and they don't believe in walking in graveyards or like stepping foot into graveyards because it's where the dead lie. Also, they don't like to cut their hair. I think it's a form of tethering, like something that grounds them to this earth. So they don't cut their hair and they don't drink. So everything goes kind of upside down where he gets this job, and he now needs to remove all of those things that made him him. So he has to cut his hair every single time that it grows, and he's shaving his hair off, and he feels so different. He feels like a shell of himself. And there's a few instances where like he gets very emotional because of like how much of himself he's lost in this process. And he comes across other people that work in the graveyard with him. I'm not going to get too much into that because I don't want to give too many spoilers away. But in this graveyard, while he was working one of these shifts, something amazing happened. He was looking around, and suddenly he saw a girl at the gate. She was wearing white, and she looked ethereal, and he could not for the life of him take his eyes away, but he had to look away for a moment, and she disappeared. She looked away for just a second, and she disappeared. This is the girl that's going through something at the moment. So she's the other half of this book, and she is now experiencing something that all of her ancestors went through before her. This is the story of G Day, where she comes in, like her mom passes away. And when her mom passes away, she carries on, either, depending how you take it, it's either a gift or a curse. Initially, she took it as a curse because there's a lot of things involved, like giving up your privacy, seeing the darkness around people, seeing how much time they have left on this earth. But when she saw Darwin, all she could see was green. She saw him when she left her body that night and she saw him at the cemetery, she knew there was something there. She knew there was something about him, and immediately she went looking for this boy. And she found him working in the cemetery, and they had that connection. He knew who she was, she knew who he was. But how do you explain it to other people that I saw you through like a vision? This person came to me through a vision, and that's how this came about. And the story kind of just picks up from there, but it's like a very slow burn. I was reading, there's only like one part of it where it's very romantic or very intimate, and I kid you not, I got goosebumps down my arms because it was so beautifully written. So there's a bit of mystery that goes on in the book as well, and I don't want to spoil it because if you guys definitely want to grab a hold of this one, When We Were Birds is a fantastic option to read. It's a very short book, 258 or 252 pages, but stunning overall. Things that worked for me was the slow burn, was the depth of the characters, and also the way she's used imagery. There's a lot of real, like, supernatural aspects to it. There's a lot of magic, but the colors that she's described, the tastes of the food, like the local culture, and all of those kinds of things is what made this book a hit for me. Some of the things I found very difficult at the beginning, not very difficult, but you have to kind of reset your reading because this is written in a way that the spoken Trini dialect or accent, I'm not sure how, like, the way they speak. And some of it, the language, you have to kind of reread in that way because you kind of automatically finish the sentence out on how you think it's written. But reading it in the exact same way that the author has written immensely changes the mystical aspect of this book because you feel like you're in this book, not as a person, not as part of it, but someone just viewing it on the inside. That is one of the, like, harder things I thought about this book, but the rest of it, easy breezy. But it is, I couldn't for the life of me figure out what kind of genre this book went, like, fit into, because it wasn't, I didn't feel like it was a fiction book. I feel like this is something that's happened before, something that's so amazing that, this has to be something that's happened before. Just doesn't feel fictional to me. Sure enough, when I searched it to figure out what genre it was, it's called magical realism. And honest to God, yes, it is like fantastic. It is an actual magical experience when you read this book. And I can't recommend it enough. This was just amazing. Just 100% amazing. Definitely read it. Thank you guys for watching. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed the very short video of this review.